Hi, how is everybody doing today? I wanted to make a video. I wanted to speak on how not to argue with people that you love or care about, or even people that you don't care about. How not to argue. Well, one thing about arguing is you can't argue by yourself. Um, the whole point in arguing is the person gets defensive. They feel attacked because of something you said or something that you did. You have to excuse the background noise. My son is playing with his tennis ball. Um, you cannot manage somebody else's defenses. So, what I'm trying to say is you can't try to approach them in a way for them not to get defensive, because how do you know what makes that person get defensive? So if I said something to you that was wrong and you tried to come back to me to tell me that I hurt your feelings, I can't say that you shouldn't be defensive, because that is that other person's feelings. So what I have experienced to not have arguments and try to stop arguments from happening is I have just be quiet, because you honestly cannot argue by yourself. The only thing you can do is apologize and just be quiet, because one thing with an argument is it can start down here and then it goes all the way to the top, and people in arguments, try to prove themselves out of the argument because it's a blockage with the other person, or there's a blockage in both people. They're both defensive at this point, because if you're going to say that I'm not trying to argue and I didn't mean it this way, and that other person still feels attacked, you're going around and around and around and around in a big circle. And all you're doing is arguing. You're trying to prove why you're not arguing. The other person is trying to prove why they feel attacked. It's just too much. And honestly, I don't like arguing. I have PTSD, and arguing makes me very, very exhausted. So what I have learned over time is to just be quiet. Honestly, silence is the best thing for a lot of things. If you already know how somebody is as far as getting defensive, or they may have a heightened sensitivity, they may be more sensitive than you, and what bothers other people may not bother you, and what bothers you may not bother other people. So you don't know, you may not intend to hurt somebody's feelings, but their feelings may still get hurt. You could have took it from a place out of love, and that person still thinks that you're trying to degrade them or devalue them, but you really love that person. And so, and then there's another example. There are some people that are purely argumentative, meaning they approach people in order just to argue. And that can be a problem. And if you know you have somebody like that, that you basically are arguing all the time, and this person is just picking, that's what you call picking and nagging. Picking and nagging, some people like to do that. Some people actually get a kick and they get their supply by arguing. They love to argue. They love confrontation. They love to argue. It's just something that they live for. They love it. I can't deal with those kind of people either. And with those kind of people who intentionally try to argue, they say something and pick so that they can get a rise out of you in order to argue. Those type of people you have to just leave alone, period. And I feel really bad, and I'm very sorry if you guys are in a situation and you can't get out of it, and the person likes to argue, the only way you can do with that is just to, like I said, stay silent. And hopefully the person will go get their supply from somewhere else and find you not worthy of trying to have an argument with you. Well, those are my thoughts on arguing, and I hope it helps. Because it really, for you to show somebody else your point when you're trying to get them to see something some people aren't going to see, and it's going to have an argument. You can't try to teach an adult person to show them, what you're trying to prove or say your feelings. Some people just can't see. And that's a part of being empathetic. Empathy is when you can feel another person's pain. Empathy is when you can feel another person's situation and you haven't even been in that situation. And I'm very empathetic. And so the main thing is, if you know you're not reaching your destination by arguing,